There we are. Annyeong, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Searching with James live stream. Just doing a bit of a study sesh. A bit of listening to Korean podcasts. So I'll have that on in the background as well. And filling up my notebook. So I bought this notebook from Tesco the other day. I've already started writing bits in, so I've got. Oh, there we go. So I've got the Hangul. I've already made some mistakes here. So I've got Hangul written in the back, and then I've got some of the Bachim rules as like a reference. And then I've started doing a bit of like sentence structure as well. Proper like building blocks of language, really. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be listening to some podcasts as well. We've been very busy recently. So at the weekend, I was doing an event for the Disney Lorcana trading card game. It was in Birmingham Lorcana Fest. Fantastic time. But now that was week one of several back-to-back events that I am present at, that I am helping to run in various ways. This weekend I am actually away. I am in Bologna, Italy, for the Yu-Gi-Oh! YCS in Bologna as a judge. But then before that, I'm actually at a wedding. So I'm at a wedding reception tomorrow, getting on a flight first thing Friday morning, and heading off to Italy. And then the following week I'm then doing another Disney Lorcana event that I've had to have a meeting about today, actually, with the organizer. So it's one of those that like I'm running out of time. But actually, that's where podcasts and audiobooks come in massively helpful, because as I'm going about the rest of my day, I can just have them on in the background. And then having them on the background is great. But I'm still trying to figure out what it is that I am trying to get from a lot of these Korean podcasts. Like, some of them are more focused on actual learning. Some of them are more focused on just translation. Some of them are just, I said, like current event type things, just in Korean. So I'm actually going to go through a few of these today. I have a little note down. Not in this book. This book is my Korean like learning notebook. I've got enough pieces of paper on here to be able to make some notes as well. I've already got some notes elsewhere on the two that I've listened to so far. But yeah, they've been really good, particularly when I'm like going to the gym or something like that. I've been able to just listen through, which has been pretty great. I am probably going to have to get up at some point because it's really cold here. The last couple of days, it's just turned so cold. Like it's now freezing. I was actually out, so last week. It's like over the last sort of week and a bit, I've had issues with my car, so it was already leaking in the back, because the seal around the brake light at the top of the boot is not as deteriorated, or it wasn't put properly on, so water's leaked in behind it, and it's sort of trapped in the compartment, so it leaks down on the inside of the window, which is not great. But then I also had like some debris, like leaves and stuff, blocking the front of the car and causing water from the rain that we've had recently to come through. And it was just, it completely soaked the floor of both the passenger and driver side. Mostly the driver side, actually. It came like a big sort of gush of water came through on the passenger side, but that's mostly dry. But the driver side is just absolutely filled with water. I was out there earlier with just towels, trying to like soak up as much as I can. I've got dehumidifier pack things. I've got various things to help me, and I literally just sat in the car with like the engine on, with the heaters going on full blast, just to try and see what I could clear from the car. Wasn't great. But as I was out there and I was trying to like wring through these towels that I had, like, my hands were just going numb. So like I could tell how cold it's getting. Yeah, so that's been my week. But I've currently got the heater on. But with that heater, it tends to put out a lot of heat all at once. So it will probably, especially while I'm getting into speaking, I will end up just like I'll get too warm very quickly. So I've actually got a t-shirt on, like an oversized shirt. It's really good. Like, I really like it. It's nice and thick. And I like sort of the loose fit. But even then, it's still going to get very warm very quickly. Yeah, but it's fine. Yeah, I think then let's try and switch to my screen here. So I'm suspecting that my short screen won't show this very well. So, a bit of on-the-fly editing. Gotta love it. There we go. That should look a little bit better if you're watching on the shorts. And if you're not, I will try and sort of zoom in on the big one. Actually, I might just change the big one now. Ooh. Now, cutting my face. I promise I'll get better at this bit. There we go. That's a bit better. Right, so I am going to, let's listen through. So this one that I've found, this is Fluent Fiction Korean. So let's have a little, is there any repetition and active processing? So this is sentence by sentence, switching between Korean and English. So I'm going to put this on. Let's have a bit of a listen.
It.
Oh, that was my previous one. Hang on. Let's do oldest to newest. So this is Reuniting Hearts, Springtime Tale of Family Bonds. Oh no.
Welcome to Fluent Fiction Korean, the podcast where we bring you bilingual stories to supercharge your listening comprehension. In each episode, we'll present a short story in both English and Korean with the aim of helping you to improve your listening comprehension.
In this episode, we'll join Jisoo and Miho as they rediscover their sibling bond and embark on a heartfelt journey of family reunions and cherished memories.
right after this commercial break.
At Fluent Fiction, we're not just telling stories, we're bringing the world together by learning to understand each other. By subscribing to Fluent Fiction Plus at plus.fluentfiction.org, you do more than just remove ads. You support a platform bridging global language differences, one story at a time. Your subscription not only guarantees you an uninterrupted narrative, it also sustains our mission to bring stories in diverse languages to everyone. It's simple. Visit plus.fluentfiction.org and become a Plus subscriber today. When you do, you become a champion for global language learning and enjoy an ad-free experience.
Okay, so this
join
is
us at
some text-to-speech.
plus.fluentfiction.org. Let's transform the way we experience the power of stories. Your journey awaits at plus.
I'll see how it is once I've actually started listening to the story. It might just be the blurb that they're all right, but if the story itself is also text-to-speech.
인천국제공항은 여행객과 가족들로 넘쳐났다. 반짝이는 유리벽이 햇살을 잘 받아 전체 공항이 밝고 활기찼다. 공항 안으로 은은한 꽃향기가 풍겼다. 봄이 오고 있었다. 지수는 공항 로비에 서 있었다. 그녀의 마음은 설렘과 긴장으로 가득 찼다. 오랫동안 외국에서 공부하던 그녀가 드디어 한국으로 돌아왔다. 긴 여행 뒤 가족과 다시 만나는 기대에 가슴이 뛰었지만 한편으로 두려움도 있었다. 민호와 사이가 예전 같으면 좋을 텐데. 그녀는 생각했다. 민호는 지수가 귀국하는 것을 알고 있었다. 하지만 지수는 동생이 바쁘다고 생각했다. 바쁜 스타일일 거야. 지수는 혼자 속삭였다. 여전히 내가 보고 싶어 해줄까? 그러나 지수는 결심했다. 민호와 시간을 만들기로 했다. 그래서 공항에 도착하자마자 민호에게 전화를 걸었다. 민호야, 나왔어. 공항 카페에서 만나자. 지수가 말했다. 카페는 사람들로 붐비고 있었지만 지수는 곧 민호를 찾았다. 둘은 서로를 보자마자 소리 없이 웃었다. 어린 시절 추억이 자연스럽게 떠올랐다. 지수는 안도의 숨을 쉴 수 있었다. 지수 누나, 민호가 먼저 말을 시작했다. 기다렸어. 그의 눈에는 진심이 담겨 있었다. 쌍둥이처럼 똑같은 미소를 한 두 사람은 이야기를 나누었다. 서로의 오해를 풀고 낯설게 느껴졌던 시간들을 넘어서기 시작했다. 민호는 바쁘지 않았고 오히려 누나와 함께할 계획을 세우길 고대하고 있었다.
Okay, so when it started, like when I was reading the description, it sounded like it was just going to be like one sentence. But by the looks of it, there's actually a transcript. So I put this here. So so we've got the transcript here where it goes, that's what this sentence is, and that's what the English is. That's better than I thought it was, actually. Because it means that I can sort of, especially a sentence like this, like where it's got a place in it, so I can I know exactly where I'll be able to find, or I'll be able to see that in the sentence, and sort of then know where that would go in an actual sentence. So, Incheon Airport. That's this one. Incheon을, Incheon는, and then Nun, because I did this the other day. I can look it up. So, oh no, sorry. I'm trying to like I'm jumping ahead. I think with trying to like put things together. So that for me that was that's a particle. Actually, it's not. I'm thinking of something else. Yeah. So we've got Incheon Kukje. Incheon Kukje. That is Gonghang. And there we go. That's the particle there. So we got Incheon Gukje Gonghang Gonghang. And then we've got that's un. So that's your subject marker, your topic marker. So you're talking about Incheon International Airport. And then you've got that one. I'm fairly sure that's unless that's all Incheon International Airport, because then that's a place. Could be both. Like I don't actually know if Korean can use multiple particles. That's probably in my next bit. Actually, I've got a nice little gap there beneath my table, my handwritten table of common particles, and go, oh yeah, the things can have two things. If your topic of conversation is a place, you can say the place name, particle that it's a it's the topic, particle that it's a location. So so I need to have a little look there. And okay, this has got a vocabulary thing as well. Mode, reading Korean, reading English, side by side. Yep, see, and you've got different ways to do it. Okay, that's quite good then. So on each of the episode descriptions, you've got a link to a transcript that comes in English and Korean, both at the same time, side by side as well. My second monitor just went off. That was odd. Hope everything's plugged in properly and that nothing's going wrong. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So let's continue giving this a listen.
우리 어디로 여행 갔었지? 지수가 물었다. 민호는 바로 대답했다. 서천이잖아. 이번 주말에 같이 가볼까? 결국 지수는 민호와 함께 공항을 떠났다. 주말 동안 가족과 시골에서 시간을 보낼 수 있게 됐다. 그 순간 지수는 깨달았다. 민호와의 관계는 전보다 더 단단했다. 그녀의 두려움은 이미 사라졌다. 봄의 햇살 속에서 두 사람은 멀리 향해 걸어갔다. 인천국제공항 뒤로 많은 사람들이 지나갔고 그들 역시 새로운 여행을 시작했다. 지수와 민호는 이제 같은 길을 걷고 있었다. 서로가 같은 가족인 것을 절실히 느끼며
Let's take another listen. Listen closely to any parts you may have missed.
인천국제공항은 여행객과 가족들로 넘쳐났다.
Incheon International Airport was filled with travelers and families.
반짝이는 유리벽이 햇살을 잘 받아.
Okay, so it's not 15 minutes of one story, so we do 5 minutes. Then a slower reading where it's sentence by sentence. Okay. I prefer it if it was just the first one, but I also get why. Let's make some notes. Slower as well, so it's one sentence slower Korean than English. And then it's the text-to-speech English voice. You know, I can't hear it as much if it is for the Korean.
전체 공항이 밝고 활기찼다.
I think it is because that's one. The voice sounds very familiar. It sounds like other sort of like vocal tracks that I've heard when I've heard Korean. So it might just be the Korean text-to-speech voice. Also, it sounds a bit sort of disjointed at times, so I don't know.
The sparkling glass walls caught the sunlight, making the entire airport bright and lively.
Also, and this is more of like a personal thing because that, you know, because I'm British, hearing an American voice isn't necessarily getting it as ingrained as it would be if it was a British voice, I think. Or at least you know, it's a, if I'm hearing English from a native speaker, like I'd like it to be British. Mostly just because that, for me, that would register better, especially if it's a text-to-speech thing. You know, you could easily have different versions. So you can have an English US and an English UK version. I don't know.
공항 안으로 은은한 꽃향기가 풍겼다.
A subtle scent of flowers wafted through the airport.
Some of these are quite complex sentences as well. Or at least to me, they feel like they're probably quite complex.
봄이 오고 있었다.
Spring was approaching.
너의 숨을 쉴
Beanie answered immediately.
진심, 진심.
Genuine.
So just skipping ahead, just because I can't obviously spend massive amounts of time on each one. So I'm just going to see what it sort of goes to at the end.
With Minie was stronger than before.
그녀의 두려움은 이미 사라졌다.
Her fears had already disappeared.
봄의 햇살 속에서 두 사람은 멀리 향해 걸어갔다.
In the spring sunshine, the two walked toward the distance.
인천국제공항 뒤로 많은 사람들이 지나갔고 그들 역시 새로운 여행을 시작했다.
Behind them, many people passed by Incheon International Airport, and they too began a new journey.
지수와 민호는 이제 같은 길을 걷고 있었다. 서로가 같은 가족인 것을 절실히 느끼며
Jisoo and Minie were now walking the same path, deeply feeling their bond as family.
Today's vocabulary words are coming up right after this commercial break. Here are today's vocabulary words, first in Korean, then in English.
Okay, so it's then doing vocabulary, which I guess is fine, but the thing is, if I'm hearing things, great, and it's really important for the immersion stuff. But I'd almost prefer to, if I'm specifically looking for vocabulary, I'd prefer like a mixed approach where there's, you know, you're reading and you're listening, because like, yes, I'd be able to figure out how it's written to an extent, but then because of Butchin rules and stuff like that, you know, there's all sorts of issues with that. But then that's why I'd rather see what the whole thing, which you can in the transcript. That's something, but purely as an auditory thing, that's a bit I think this is definitely one for if you've got a lot more time per episode. So even though this episode is only 15 minutes long, it really relies on you having either the transcript open and then using that alongside, or purely you're just going for auditory stuff. So if you're just looking to learn vocabulary purely by speech, that's fine. But again, because it's text to speech, it's not necessarily, fluid language. It's not somebody actively speaking the language themselves. Whereas I think other ones do that better. Let's have a little look. So that's fluent. That was fluent fiction. So let's do this one. Cozy story time. Oldest to newest. So by the looks of it, this one's a very short one. Like each episode's quite short. I'm looking through. They're all at sort of less than 5 minutes. Some of them are slightly longer. Some of them even as long as 7 minutes. But again, it's quite short bursts. There is a YouTube channel that goes along with it, as well as a PDF. I'm just going to quickly open this. Okay. So, so there's a link in the description to, like, it's almost like a little worksheet, which has the transcript purely in Korean on it, apart from it's got, it's got some underlined segments with either vocabulary or with grammar. So if there's like particular verbs it wants to highlight, or particular sort of connections or particles. So this one we've got ul, which is a object. It's an object marker, but then you've got day. When, during. I don't know if I have that on here. I've got like with and stuff like that, but I've not necessarily got when. That might be. So it might be, again, this is something that I was saying before about the double object markers to sort of make a plan. I need to actually have a look at some like natively written Korean as well, because I'm noticing that so having done bits of Japanese in the past, it's all written as one. Each sentence is written as one continuous string of characters, a mix of various kana and the kanji. Kanji to obviously give it context and meaning, but there seem to be gaps here. So to me, that suggests that even though stuff's written in Hangul, it's sort of blocked together. Each word is sort of blocked together, or maybe word plus particle blocks are written together. That's probably something I'll write down as well. I'll do a little bit of research into that. That might be the next stream. I come back on Monday from Italy, so I will be just checking my phone. I will be probably streaming on the Tuesday, or maybe even on the Monday if I feel like it. So that's something I'll probably do in that stream. Just have a little bit of a study and a read up of like actual written Korean, because it's the sort of thing you want to get into. You want to know now, so that you don't get into bad habits accidentally, or you want to know why you're doing something. Okay, so that's pretty cool, and that's just one long thing. They are also, by the looks of it, available on YouTube. So if I open up YouTube, yes, they're all here. With some extras as well. So the actual cozy story times are on here that go with it, but then there's also some other things. So learn Korean with games. Actually, that's something I hope to do at some point once I've got some basics. So actually, this might be a very good channel to follow. Cheeky little subscribe there. Oh, 70,000, I wish. Yeah. I mean, ideally, these are the sort of videos I want to make myself at some point as well. But actually, these will give me some ideas for like small games that I can play, games that are recommended. So that'll be good. So I'm just gonna do that. Let's actually give it a listen, because I've not heard any yet. I'm saying all these good things. It might be absolutely terrible once I start hearing it. I hope not. I don't think it will be. But let's give it a go.
안녕하세요, 여러분. 오늘 좋은 하루 보내셨나요? 여러분은 어디에 살아요? 미국? 영국? 아니면 한국? 일본? 저는 미국에 살아요. 지난 4월에 한국에 남편하고 다녀왔어요. 한국은 여전히 바쁘고 예쁘고 맛있는 것이 너무 많고 항상 새로웠어요. 여러분은 한국에 가본 적이 있나요? 한국에 가본 적이 있다면 한국 카페는 가보셨어요? 저는 커피를 아주 좋아해요. 그래서 한국에 있을 때 카페에 정말 자주 갔어요. 지금부터 제가 생각하는 한국 카페가 최고인 이유를 말해보려고 해요. 먼저 한국에는 카페가 정말 많아요. 카페가 정말 많기 때문에 카페에 가는 것이 쉬워요. 집 옆에 카페가 있다면 조금만 걸어가면 돼요. 좋아하는 카페가 조금 멀리 있어도 지하철이나 버스를 타면 돼요. 날씨가 좋으면 산책하듯이 걸어가도 되고요. 운전을 하지 않아도 돼요. 차가 없어도 걸어서 안전하게 카페에 갈 수 있어요. 상상해보세요. 지금은 오후 3시고 내가 좋아하는 카페에 가고 싶어요. 노트북을 가방에 챙겨요. 집에서 나와서 버스를 타요. 밖을 내다봐요. 하늘은 파랗고 정말 많은 사람들이 보여요. 좋아하는 노래를 듣고 있어요. 벌써 버스에서 내릴 시간이에요. 버스에서 내려서 조금만 걸어가면 제가 좋아하는 카페가 있어요. 이렇게 정말 쉽게 카페에 갈 수 있어요. 두 번째로 한국 카페들은 아주 다양해요. 성수동에는 오래된 공장이었던 카페들이 많아요.
Okay, so this is really good. I like the sort of the lo-fi beats in the background. Actually, I need to start putting some beats on in the background, because because it's boring having me sit there just scribbling away. Although, you might want to put your own music on. I need to just figure out how I can put music on and still play other things. I might need to figure out a source of music. There's probably some way I can add music. There'll be some sort of plugin that I can just add to sort of layer some music on. We'll see. So I really enjoy this. It's quite short. So again, it's something that if you've got not a lot of time, it's pretty great. It's purely in Korean. So it's about the actual story is about the same length as the previous one. That sort of 5, 6, 7 minute mark. The one thing I did actually notice, and I was actually looking this up, which if you're watching me on YouTube proper rather than YouTube Shorts, is I just checked that not only the channel but also this. The last update was actually January 2024. I had a look on YouTube. So this person making this was actually somebody who lived in America and has actually gone then and moved to South Korea. So somebody who is, I don't want to say following a very similar journey, because by the sounds of it, they could be completely wrong, but they already were Korean speaking, likely through family or something. Not 100% sure, I could be making this up completely. But yeah, so, and they weren't sure when they would next make anything. It's now been, nearly 2 years since the last one. So, and there are only 17 episodes. So 17 short episodes. Great if it's something you want to listen to and repeat, and work on repeat, and sort of see how you get on with each one as you go along. As you go through, you'll go, okay, the first time I'm just hearing the sounds. Second time you work through them, you work through the PDF, and you go, okay, that's a bit better. I can sort of understand it. Then the next time you might try and sort of do a sentence and then try to write it out in English. The other thing as well is that there's no, at least I couldn't see like an English translation. So it might be one that you've got to, that there's no way of sort of checking if you're right or not. Which is, I mean, I know that sort of right or wrong isn't necessarily the aim. It's more about language acquisition, language learning, and looking for grammar and vocabulary. But it'd be also nice to know, especially if you're at a point where you're trying to sort of you're trying to listen to like fluent Korean and understand it. It's tough, without having an English translation. You could hear something, go, oh yeah, it means this, and I know I'm right, and then you'll have that, and then it will just sort of go, no, completely wrong. Or oh, okay, you've heard this and got it completely wrong. I might hear something I might hear something and think it's a verb when really it's talking about, I don't know, something else. It's yeah. So that's a good one. YouTube additional. "17 episodes, which isn't an awful lot for such a short thing. I do need to just quickly check how many episodes there are. Okay, there are a lot. They are doing. Okay, so there have been episodes daily of the previous one, from March of this year to to right now. As well as November. Yeah, as recently as today. However, I probably suspect if that's the case, either they've got a massive backlog of it all, or there's some sort of AI involved, which the text to speech probably does suggest. I could be perfectly wrong. They could be just. They could have daily episodes since March 2025. Yeah, so I'm actually a little skeptical on the fluent fiction one now, like even more so than I already was. Either that, or they've just got a lot of good people who they can do it. It could be by the looks of it, they've got other languages that they do. So we'll see. Right, I am just going to go through just the top line, I think. So this next one. This is Choices Korean podcast. So I'm just going to play the first one. So again, these are like quite short.
안녕하세요. 오늘은 취미에 대해서 이야기할 거예요. 취미는 내가 좋아하는 거예요. 예를 들면 저는 쉴 때 게임을 해요. 게임하는 것을 좋아해요. 그리고 재미있어요. 그러면 게임이 제 취미예요. 여러분은 취미가 있어요? 여러분의 취미는 뭐예요? 제 취미는 산책하는 거예요. 날씨가 좋을 때 공원에 가서 산책을 해요. 산책을 할 때 노래 듣는 것을 가장 좋아해요. 그리고 산책할 때 친구하고 전화하는 것도 좋아해요. 가끔 친구하고 저녁을 먹고 산책할 때도 많이 있어요. 운동을 하고 이야기를 할 수 있어서 정말 좋아요. 가끔 낮에 산책을 하지만 밤에 산책하는 것을 더 좋아해요. 왜냐하면 밤에는 사람이 별로 없고 조용해요. 그래서 가끔 밤에 공원에서 자전거를 타요. 한국의 겨울은 많이 추워서 겨울에는 자전거를 거의 안 타요. 보통 봄, 여름, 가을에 자전거를 자주 타요. 한국의 봄에는 꽃이 많이 피어서 자전거를 탈 때 꽃 구경을 할 수 있어요. 이번 봄에 꽃이 정말 많이 피어서 꽃사진도 많이 찍었어요. 여름에는 낮에 정말 더워서 밤에 자전거를 자주 타요. 밤에 바람이 불 때 자전거를 타면 기분이 좋아요. 가을에는 단풍이 들어서 나무의 색이 정말 예쁘고 날씨가 시원해요. 봄에는 꽃 구경을 하고 가을에는 단풍 구경을 할 수 있어요. 그리고 하늘도 예뻐요. 그래서 가을에 공원에서 운동을 자주 해요. 여러분의 나라에서 유행하는 취미가 있어요? 요즘 한국 사람들이 많이 하는 취미 활동은 운동이에요. 2년 동안 코로나 때문에 운동을 잘 못했어요. 근데 요즘 한국에서 코로나가 거의 끝났어요. 그래서 사람들이 운동을 많이 하고 있어요. 달리기, 필라테스, 요가, 암벽 등반, 등산 등을 많이 해요. 저도 운동을 일주일에 2번 하고 있어요. 보통 월요일, 금요일에 필라테스를 하는데 처음에는 어려웠지만 요즘은 재미있어요. 필라테스를 할 때는 힘들지만 끝난 후에는 기분이 좋아요.
저는 3년 전에 요가도 했었는데 정말 재미있었어요. 그래서 제가 가장 좋아하는 운동은 요가와 필라테스예요. 저는 친구와 등산을 한번 해봤지만 너무 힘들었어요. 그래서 저는 등산하는 것을 좋아하지 않아요. 산 정상에서 보는 경치가 예뻤지만 너무 힘들어서 다시 안 갔어요. 그리고 달리기를 해봤지만 재미없었어요. 발목하고 무릎이 너무 아파서 잘 못 뛰었어요. 그래서 제가 안 좋아하는 운동은 등산과 달리기예요. 여러분은 어떤 취미가 있어요? 요즘 어떤 운동을 하고 있어요? 그리고 여러분이 좋아하는 운동과 싫어하는 운동은 뭐예요? 댓글로 남겨주세요.
Right, so that one was quite good. Again, it's very similar to the previous one, where it is all just short, simple things. I think they've got like conversations or just speeches. They do have different levels, I think. So that one was a beginner one. Then they've got some intermediate ones as well, which is good because it means that's something you can go on with. The one thing, so currently got the website open, which is where all the transcripts supposedly are. However, so they've got their own website. It's a bit of a there's a website with a bunch of different stuff on it, and you can sign in and register. And there's a thing that says pricing here. So, and it's I think at the bottom it's just because. So if we go to the bottom, so we've got Suyun and Louis, teacher developer duo. So Suyun is obviously the teacher and Louis the developer. So that sort of does lead it to having like a platform online pricing. They do have a free plan and then a premium plan, access to free content. It's what is behind this paywall that I'm a bit iffy about. So like the transcripts for some of the other ones have just been available. Like I've been able to click on it and it's gone to the transcript. This one, it's gone, oh yeah, the things are on our website, gachakorean.com. And they might well be. But I kind of don't want to find out. That's put me off finding out. Could be some. I might look at it, the free version, and I might, I'll have to do a bit of. I'll have to do a little bit of research for. Yeah, I have to do a little bit of research for the video when I make it. Yeah, there'll be at least some paywalled content, whether the transcripts of the podcast are or not. We'll see. And it's got other tools here, so it's very sort of community exercises and tests, learning materials. It's very Duolingo-y. It might be great. If I watch the demo, let's watch the demo.
안녕하세요 여러분, 최수수입니다. 오랜만에 이렇게 영상으로 인사를 드리는데요. 여러분에게
It's at least a
전하고 싶은
native speaker,
새로운 소식이
by the looks of it.
있어요. 이 소식을 드디어 전할 수 있게 되어서 너무 행복한데요. 바로 제가 한국어 공부를 위한 웹사이트를 만들었어요. 여러분이 한국어를 더 쉽고 재미있게 배울 가치 한국어에서는 더 발전된 팟캐스트도 들을
So
수
there's
있어요.
advanced podcasts.
기존에 제가 유튜브에 올렸던 팟캐스트부터 웹사이트 멤버만 이용할 수 있는 전용
There we go. So there's exclusive podcasts.
팟캐스트까지 모두 이용해 볼 수 있어요. 여기에서는 팟캐스트에 나온 단어와 문법을
The transcripts are at least interactive, and it's got again the vocabulary and the grammar.
각 단어와 문법을 보고 싶지 않다면 이 버튼을 눌러서 의미를 가리고 들을 수도 있어요. 팟캐스트에 나온 단어를 따로 공부하고 싶으면 이 단어 덱을 사용해서 단어를 외울 수 있어요. 제 팟캐스트로
Okay, so it's very well featured by the looks of it. It's one I'll probably have to just go back to and revisit, I think. One to revisit. But I mean, at least the podcast itself is quite nice. So if you just wanted to hear some sort of nice, simple Korean sort of speaking, then yeah, you're good, and you can at least get in contact with them. And there's a YouTube channel as well. So yeah, so that's another one with it, sort of an accompanying YouTube channel. Cool. I'm trying to skip some of these ones, like Learn Korean Free, because they'll be very much like your classic sort of hello, goodbye. That's what the Talk to Me in Korean one was to an extent, but that was the way that they spoke in that one. So I'll quickly do this one. So this was a level 1. If I can. Level 1, lesson 1. Yeah, so this one was one I was listening to before. Again, it's a bit more like a teacher teaching you, but because there's 2 of them, it's sort of structured like a bit more like it's quite natural.
Hello everyone.
Hi everyone.
You are listening to the very first lesson of Talk to Me in Korean.
Talk to me in Korean.
Talk to us in Korean. My name is Hyunwoo-sun
Yes.
and I'm joined by
경은.
Congratulations on starting to learn Korean. And if you are already an intermediate level learner or if you speak Korean fluently, I hope you will still enjoy our lessons.
Of course.
Of course. So today we are going to learn 2 things.
Really?
Yeah, 2
Only
things.
2 things?
Only 2 things. We want to make these lessons short so that they are
Okay.
bite-sized and they are easy to carry.
But it's very important to learn, right?
These things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we going to learn today?
Today we are going to learn 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. And what's the other thing that we're going to learn?
The other thing we are going to learn is 감사합니다.
감사합니다. What does this mean?
It means thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to learn 감사합니다 and 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요 is, of course, as you might have been able to guess, hello.
Hello.
So something 니다,
Ni-
pass me.
Uh-huh.
I'm thanking you, right?
Yeah, right.
So it is easy to guess who I'm thanking. So in Korean, people just say
감사합니다.
감사.
Yeah, so it's obviously these are the very beginning things. So this is your tourist level. Hello and thank you, and like the next one is like yes and no and goodbye and stuff like that. So it's one of those, I don't know quite how useful it is at that point, but if I go for one of the later ones, let's go for level 2, lesson 3, where some of the connecting words. This is a bit longer. This one is 10 minutes long.
I'm introducing myself as 선현우.
Yeah, you always say like 현우-san.
Yeah. A lot of
yeah, so I called you 현우-san, 현우-san.
Yeah, you know what? 경은, she's Korean and I'm Korean.
Yes.
We never speak a word of English in our office with each other. But only when she calls my name, what do you call me?
현우-san.
And yeah,
Because you always introduce yourself like Hyunwoo-san.
yeah.
Some of our listeners are confused about our names.
Okay.
So. 네.
Or two nouns sometimes. So we're looking at 그리고 and
그래서.
again
그리고.
and.
그래서.
그리고.
All right, let's get right into it. So 경은,
네.
what does 그리고 mean?
그리고 has the meaning of
그래서.
and then.
All right, and it depends on the context.
네.
So sometimes in English, when you say something, something, and something, something, it's just parallel, like you're just mentioning one after another. But other times, when you say things like, I went home and opened the refrigerator and found out that my refrigerator was empty. Things like that in the time order, right?
Yes.
So the Korean word 그리고 has the same roles.
네, 맞아요.
So let's give an.
Okay, so this is very good if you're looking at specific grammar things. So I feel like this is very good as a supplementary thing. So alongside so like they'll give examples, but it's more like grammar things. So if you're doing this alongside some of the previous ones, some of the, especially the simple ones, the short ones, sort of you'll start to get where so if I did one of the cozy story times in Korean episodes and I looked at the transcript, saw one of the grammar bits was like this, where it's like kurigo or kuleso, I'd be able to sort of hear that on this, see a bit more sort of context, sort of what it means to a native speaker, the potential or the uses of it. You know, it's supplementary. But there's a lot of and I'm writing this as I am speaking as well. It's a lot of like explanation, not a lot of just speaking. So this one feels like it might end up being a bit of an honorable mention, just because the intent isn't just to have Korean language content. Also, let's have a quick look at the website. So we got Talk to Me in Korean. Right, so they've got courses, books, stories. So they've got lots of things here. Explore all services. But then again, I'm looking like, oh yeah, try a demo lesson. And they've got books and stuff like that. So it's one of those where if you're learning by a book, then great. Explore all services. So if I go onto this to try a demo lesson, pricing, there we go. So there is no free option for this if you wanted to use it as a full-on sort of thing. Also, I'm fairly sure there are a few of these that just don't exist. A few of the lessons that don't exist just in the public space. So this was level 2, lesson 3. If I look at the level 1s, I've got lesson 1, 2, and 3. But it was all downloaded. So I think somebody's uploaded this from another source. I think they used to have them all on Spotify. Because they uploaded these all together. But then, so it goes from doing hello, thank you, yes, no, and what, and goodbye, and skipping straight to, if you were to believe that this was just one from the next, it's got level 2, lesson 1 as future tense. It's like, well, we've not learned any verbs, we've not learned any structure. It might just be that only, and I'm looking down, it's only the first 3 lessons on each one are available. Which for lessons that are only between sort of just under 10 minutes and as long as 20, but 20 seems to be sort of the top end. It doesn't feel like enough. You know, I might say, like, if you're going through this, I'd be, and yeah, when you get to like level 9, you're looking at like advanced situational expressions and idiomatic expressions, and I'm looking and I'm like, that doesn't feel like 27 10-minute episodes are long. That doesn't feel like, you know, if you're speaking in, you know, time terms, you know, that's level 27. If that's number 27, at 15 minutes each. Let's do some quick maths. It's 45 times 9, 450, 415 minutes. Which is, I think, 415 minutes, which is just under 7 hours. You know, if you were in school, if this was a lesson in school and you were doing, you know, hour-long lessons, you'd be lesson 7. That's probably like 3 weeks into your school year. You know, maybe a bit longer if you're if your language provision isn't great at your school. So it's like, I think there's a lot missing, and I think a lot of it is behind that paywall. So I'm gonna write that down. Feels. Yeah, at least with the Choices Korean podcast, there was a free option. So, which I imagine would have given you certainly the ones that were publicly available, I reckon would have given you all of the transcripts for it. Now, I don't know how the transcripts look. They could be awful. They could just not be what I'm after. Yeah, it's a bit rough. I think, again, as I say, it's sort of an honor. If it's not missing any, I think you can justify it as a supplementary thing. I don't think you could justify this as a thing to listen to for immersion, which is what I'm trying to go for. You know, I'm trying to look for things I could just have on. A very good example of this, and one I will be singing the praises of, is this one. So we've got Brother Yoon's Korean podcast. So these are longer episodes. Some of them as long as, you know, over half an hour. I think one I listened to was about sort of 40 minutes long. But, you know, these are 20-minute 20-minute episodes. And a lot of it's actually, you know, it's just current events. The intent of this is as just long form spoken content, but the actual content itself is stuff you'd expect from like a video essay, or, you know, some sort of news story, which is good because it's not necessarily sort of fabricated. It's not fabricated stuff for the sake of learning. It's real, what feels like real stuff. So if I go for this one, so this was the one I listened to.
유지하며 살아가는 이들에 대해
Yeah,
꼭 한
so
번은
this one's 45 minutes long. This was great for a gym session. So I literally went in, started this at the gym, just kept it running, and I'm just here listening. And it's about the Zainichi Koreans. How did they become a minority in Japan? This gives you the full transcript in Korean, as well as the, if it loads. So this actually gives you the full transcript in Korean. Actually gives you it in Japanese as well. And Vietnamese. So this has got just the pure transcript. It's got timestamps for looking at different chunks. It's got, the key vocabulary. Though it doesn't necessarily allow you to sort of, so if I was to look at that, I can't necessarily pick that out. However, if I was to study this a bit more, I'd be able to, I could. So that's Telul. Telul it Tenulita. Yeah, Tenulita. To carry on the family line or to succeed. Succeed in the succession, rather than to succeed as in I've achieved a thing. So there's the because there's the bit there. So then there's your particles for it. I think it tries to highlight it, but then I'm looking and it's, unless it's two separate things, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. It might just be, again, this is something that I need to learn. It might be that second bit gets sort of chopped off for the particles if it's used in particular contexts. Could be. Actually, that is a verb. It's probably just the conjugation of the verb. I don't actually know my conjugation rules at all yet. Again, that's something that goes in the book. Or I will say something about the book. So I was writing my Hangul, and then I was writing the Bachim rules. I thought, yep, great. Thought this page is a bit thick. Turns out there are 2 pages that are stuck together in the middle. And now I've got 2 blank pages in the middle of my reference section, which is purely it's all about pronunciation and the Hangul. Luckily, these 2 pages, the reason why I skipped is because these 2 pages just sort of tend to stick together. I don't know why. It might just be the way it's been folded or something. So I'm not too worried about it. So I've got the back page open. I've just flicked through. Oh. Might be because I'm flicking through it too much, but yeah, it was gutting when I did it. Yeah, so this is good because it's longer form, but the transcript is it's broken down quite a bit, and then it's fully referenced. This is proper. Video essay types, or just actual essay kind of stuff. Ooh, that's a long chunk. Yeah, the actual content is quite advanced. So this is something that is more for just listening and sort of trying to pick out the odd word here or there. But at least this, again, the longer form is great for when you're doing bigger tasks and you're just listening to something in the background. The fact that it's a bit more complex is fine. You can sort of get away with it because you know that you're not there to try and sort of memorize anything. You're there just similar to how watching a drama would be. You know, you're there sort of watching. And it could be that I go and find an English language version of this, you know, not necessarily, you know, word for word copied, but, you know, if I have an English version, if I have an English sort of video covering the topic of this, then I'll be able to hear things, pick up on particular names and places and go, oh, okay, that's they're talking about this bit. So again, I wouldn't. The only thing that's stopping me from this being like the top is the fact that this isn't available in English. Again, for the reasons I said for one of the previous ones, it's a long stretch of Korean to not know if you've got it right or not without just plugging it into something like Google Translate. However, this does have timestamp, so at least you can sort of go back, listen to things, and is one that, because it is much higher level, will be a lot more rewarding when you do figure out what things are properly. Yeah, so I'm actually going to write. So this is Brother Yoon. Yeah, so it's longer form. Content, higher level. Korean transcripts. Plus vocab. But is good for longer listening. And it is just all here on Spotify and on his website as well. Just looking at his homepage right now. Yeah, it's long form content that happens to be in Korean with a transcript to be able to look it up. You know, it's I can't really complain about it. It's like great for if you're at the gym and you're not necessarily focused on trying to like actively listen to things, something that you're more sort of passively listening to. And again, that passive listening is just as important as the active listening. You want to be able to sort of recognize sounds as they sort of just exist. You know, if you're hearing, you know, a TV, you know, if I was in Korea and I was hearing, you know, TV in the background, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know, big news story comes up, and you're like, ooh, you know, if that was in English, I'd, you know, you'd be able to pick a word and go, ooh, okay, that's something I've got to pay attention to. It's the same sort of idea. It's sort of like getting used to that passive listening and then picking out odds and ends. And a lot of these topics are actually quite interesting. So I'm scrolling down now. So that was the history of the Zainichi Koreans. You've got the sentiment of Han, a unique Korean emotion. Question mark. Why are there no trash cans on Korean streets? What are Korean elections like? So, you know, it's a full on. It's quite a breadth of topics. Korean views on housing. You know, it's so a lot of it's sort of current. Koreans and books, understanding Korea through reading. It might be that in that there are some references to some books that I can like just Korean literature that I can just take and read through. I will be reading some webtoons at some point. That will be sort of, again, simple, like sentences. It's very one lines with a picture. I'll be able to do a lot more things like that. That's probably what some of my streams in the future are going to be. It's going to be me very slowly reading the Hangul, the Korean in webtoons, and not even necessarily knowing what it means, but being able to read it to speed up my reading. So that's Brother Yoon's Korean podcast. That's one I thought has been great. I saw this one. So this is Korean true crime.
Sunday, May 1st, 2016.
Unfortunately, it is all in English. It is just based, like the subject matters are based in Korea. So it's stories from Korea. It's not great. That's not what I'm after. Let's have a look at this one. From zero to fluent Korean. Korean conversation drills. Let's have a little look. So this is going to be the first conversation drill. Can you speak English? So this is actually 30 minutes long. So again, it's another long form.
Listen to this Korean conversation.
Oh, it's more text to speech.
영어를 하실 수 있습니까?
아니요, 못해요. 한국어를 하실 수 있습니까?
네, 조금 할 수 있습니다.
미국에서 오셨어요?
네, 미국에서 왔습니다.
In the next few minutes, you'll learn not only to understand this conversation, but to take part in it yourself.
를 영어
Yeah, okay, that's not very good. Yeah, that's the text to speech. The Korean, like it's like for that bit there, they were literally, I think they were going through it word by word, very slowly.
영어 영어를
Oh, they're going through like
영어를
keywords and they're just like building it up.
How do you say English?
영어를
Always repeat the correct response aloud, trying to make your pronunciation sound like the speaker's. Now repeat after him again.
영어를
No, I get the idea, but it's so, again, that sort of, it's very slow. It's not immersive at all. Again, that's more if you're just trying to like learn. If you're trying to learn something that's yeah, if you're trying to learn some very specific, like beginner vocab, don't think you're actually learning a lot of Korean doing that. Right, learn Korean and Korean culture. So this is a mix with some vocab mixes. So let's do this one. This I'll do a couple more. I've already covered 5 today. Some better than others. If I do this one, maybe one more, depending on how quickly we get on with this, and then I'll call it a night, I think. I know not a lot of studying has happened, like specifically, but showing off my notebook. And I am actually going through good and bad podcasts to listen to. So if I do... so let's do this first one. So this is, hang on.
안녕하세요. Hello. So, welcome to our first episode of Learn Korean and Korean Culture. So, my name is Jerry, and I am Korean American. So, I've lived in both America and Korea. So, in this podcast, I'll be discussing Korean culture in a mix of Korean and English. And I will also provide a vocabulary list with the different words that we used in each episode. And the link to that will always be in the description. And there is also a suggestion form that's also in the description. So if you have any ideas for new topics that you want me to go over or any kind of feedback, feel free to check that out. And as for the first episode, this time we'll be talking about hanbok. And hanbok is a traditional clothes that was worn in Korea. So we'll be talking about the different kinds, what parts they are to the hanbok, what the different colors mean, and so on. Then let's get started. 그럼 시작합시다. What exactly is the type of traditional clothing that they use to start? And these things like the yuki and to be fortune, which is in the Western world. Taru, there was the means, for example, book. So there was a kat. Kat is expensive. So there was korim every day. 하지만 in Korea, they'll
Right. So that's all English with, a few words sprinkled in. So that again is more of a cultural thing. I need a new pen. This pen is slowly running out. Despite it looking very full and is running out, I can feel it. I can see it. The pen's getting weaker and weaker. Like it's trying, and I can still make scribbles and stuff, but I think writing might be a bit beyond it. I've got plenty of pens on my table. It's fine. Right, let's do one last one, and that takes me to a nice round hour and a half of streaming. So this one I'm looking at. So Korean teacher, a piece of Korean. They mention immersion learning in the description with a PDF transcript. So let's have a little look then, shall we?
안녕하세요, 여러분. 한국어 한 조각 더 라디오입니다.
Let's go for the
한국어 한 조각
oldest
더
one.
라디오에서는 중고금 말하기를 자연스럽게 들려. 안녕하세요. 한국어 한 조각입니다. 여러분은 어떻게 한국어를 공부하고 계세요? 쉽고 재미있게 한국어로 이야기를 들으면서 함께 공부해 봅시다.
Oh, that was an introduction, an actual introduction.
안녕하세요. 오늘은 세종한국어 6권에서 2과, 사과에 대해서 이야기해 보려고 해요. 책이 없어도 괜찮아요. 그냥 들어보세요. 여러분은 실수한 적이 있어요? 어떤 실수를 했어요? 실수했을 때 뭐라고 말해요? 이렇게 자신의 잘못, 실수에 대해 말하고 사과하는 것에 대해서 이야기해 보겠습니다. 먼저 시간, 약속에 대한 실수가 있을 것 같아요. 친구가 약속 시간을 못 지키거나 또는 늦었을 때
They might trapped behind.
지금이 몇 시인지 알아?
So think they've evolved quite a bit with this. So they started with some very short ones and then adapted into sort of slightly longer ones. The early ones don't have transcripts with them at all, probably because they are so simple and they are so simple. But it's like, yeah, I don't want to have to. Transcripts for me are quite important. It just gives you that extra way of studying. Let's try this one. This was introduction. Subtitles are available on my YouTube. Okay, so this one is DD Podcast.
한국어 팟캐스트. 안녕하세요. 디디의 한국어 팟캐스트에 오신 여러분 반갑습니다. 오늘은 6월 7일이고 수요일이네요. 다들 일하고 계신가요? 학교 가신 분 계시던 외칠 수 있을까? 이 자연스러운 한국어를 들어보시는 것도 아까 제가 말씀드렸던 것처럼 다양한 말투를 들어보는데 도움이 될 수 있을 것 같아서 시작하게 되었습니다. 대신에 지금 1화고 처음이고 시작이기 때문에 여러분들이 원하시는 걸 많이 알려주셨으면 좋겠어요. 예를 들면 제가 지금 말을 너무 빨리 한다, 아니면 너무 느리게 한다, 영상이 너무 길다, 짧다, 표현이 어렵다 이런 것들을 댓글로 많이 알려주시면 제가 적극적으로 반영을 해서 고치도록 하겠습니다. 앞으로 특별한 일이 없으면 매주 목요일마다 업로드를 할 예정이기 때문에 이 채널 구독해주시고 많이 들어주시면 제가 유익하고 또 재밌는 주제를 가지고 와서 계속 열심히 해보겠습니다.
Yay, gotta love adverts on YouTube.
네, 오늘은 1화인 만큼 제가 어떤 주제를 가지고 얘기할까에 대해서 고민을 많이 해봤는데 오늘의 주제는 외국어를 공부하는 이유입니다.
Okay, so the
왜 한국어를 배우게 됐나요?
transcripts are in the form of subtitles on this person's YouTube.
한국어를 공부하시는 분들을 만나면 이 질문을 꼭 하거든요.
Which is fine because it means you can sort of follow along directly.
이게 좀 형식적인 느낌, 좀 딱딱한 느낌이 들 수도 있는데 저는 이 질문을 함으로써 그 사람의 관심사 같은 것도 같이 알 수 있게 돼서 저는 자주 물어봅니다. 저는 일단 영어랑 일본어를 지금
But then that sort of defeats the objective of the sort of immersion stuff. Like, I like having the transcripts available to study back. So the idea is that you're supposed to, like, for me, the way I want to use these is to listen to them, see what I can pick up from them based on what I've already learned. See if I can learn anything from them in addition. So, you know, if I'm listening to something and I pick out, let's say the one of my, let's get this out to make sure I'm doing it right. So if I'm using like if I hear like a formal, like and, which is depending on whether it's a consonant or a vowel in the word before it, is either wa or wa. So if I hear that, like if I hear a gua or a wa, which could be very difficult to pick up on something like that, I might hear that and say, oh, okay, there's an and or a then, you know, it's not a then, sorry, like an and or a with, or, you know, that sort of, that connective part of the sentence. then I look back at the transcript for the English and then see that it's not and, but it's, it's meaning something else. Try to think of another example. Like a then. And then I go, oh, I thought that meant and. Apparently, in this context, it doesn't. Or in a natural speech, instead of saying then, they'd use and, just because that's how the language flows. It's one of those that's without having something to learn from that is correct. So, as I say, like an English translation or a transcript can be translated. It's tough. So to have a also the link doesn't work on these, so I don't know if the newer ones do. Maybe the newer ones do. Let's find out. So that's something else, DT. That's got some extra bits. There we go, episode 116. Good thing is this is still being
문화에 대해 이야기하는 DD의 한국문화 팟캐스트에 오신 여러분 반갑습니다. 여러분 저번 한 주도 다들 잘 지내셨나요? 10월 이제 중순 정도 됐네요. 1년 얼마 남지 않았는데 어떻게 후회 없이 잘 보내.
Okay, so there is a transcript on the on Spotify, but it's beta. I don't know if that's just picking up the sounds or if it's been manually entered. Business contact. YouTube channel takes it through, and it does have. And actually, this is the YouTube channel up here. It's a YouTube video, but then it's not giving the English. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to do a little more. Luckily, because of the travel that I'm doing. Because of the travel that I'm doing over the next, this weekend, I've got a few bits of travel to do. I've got some travel over the next couple of weekends as well. I will have time to sample a lot. I think when I pick some that are gonna definitely make my top 5, I'll probably just record the segment. Maybe. I don't actually know. It might just be that I go and make it all at once. Also, the episode that was just in there, the most recent actual episode, this was released yesterday. So again, another currently updating one. Great. I was talking about Makgoli, a healthy drink. Makgoli is a rice beer. So it's a fermented rice drink, like quite low ABV. But it is an alcoholic beverage that's I don't know what I can grab. Speaking of that, I forgot I had this. Ta-da! A very quick drink from the green bottle. As a thank you for watching. But yeah, Magoli is just actually it's very similar. It's often quite cloudy and can actually have like bits in the bottom. But it's delicious. And you can get Magoli in all sorts of flavors. I remember having a banana one. I think I bought a banana one in the UK at some point. from an Asian supermarket. There's actually a Korean supermarket that's opened in the centre of Birmingham. I might do a video on that. That might be really good to do a video on, actually. Here's what a Korean supermarket looks like in the UK. Yeah, I had a banana magoli. I think I had just a regular magoli in when I was in Seoul. I think it was the first night we went out for food. We just went to like a local, just like say traditional food spot where we went and we ordered. I think I had like a rice bowl of some kind. And we had some magoli. it's delicious. But yeah, I think there's definitely more podcasts to be looked at. There's already some good ones. I've definitely got some good ones. I've got some ones that are not so good. I've got some that I have some more sort of opinions about. It will all be in a video upcoming soon. I hope. Fingers crossed. While I'm remembering, I'm actually going to write down, because I have, as any good content creator should, a list of video ideas, which I can do after I have once I've actually got a bit of time, which I hope is soon. That's what I need to do. So I'm looking down my list. So my first one I need to do is a Let's Learn Hangul website review. I actually really enjoyed using that website. It's very simple, very easy to understand, and it does it just all as one block, but a block that you can come back to if you only have 10 minutes. And it's a block that's just repeatable. Doesn't necessarily cover everything. Actually, I think it did. I think even when I was writing up the batching rules, I ended up going back to it because that was explaining the rules a lot better than when other things like go into way too much detail, and it's just like, no, I just need to know how it's pronounced. That's it. And then they go, that's the Hangul, like simplifies it right down. I need to do a website review of that. Hopefully that shouldn't take too long. I need to do a how to make flashcards that I actually did last week. Was it last week? I think it was last week I was making flashcards. I'm already doing weekly shorts, so please check those out. Please watch them. I think the first one I did got about 160 something views, which is crazy. And then the last one has already got like 50 that I posted last night. You know, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not that many. Most people probably just, scroll past it. I don't care. That's 50 people that have watched me on this journey. And that's the point. It's seeing that number makes me keep doing this. I honestly have probably not had many people, if any, watch these. I don't really care. Because seeing even just like one person comes in, or if one person comments, or if one person likes any of these videos, just that little nudge of like, yeah, what you're doing, this part of what I'm doing is worthwhile. I know that the language itself is worth learning for me and my circumstances, or potential and hopeful circumstances. Regardless, it's another language. Language is always a great skill. But yeah, just seeing the odd numbers just makes it worth carrying on with. Games for Korean immersion. That one is probably more of a long-term one, and one that will happen when I'm a little more comfortable with certainly reading Korean, even if I don't necessarily understand it. One example was I wanted to actually play Baldur's Gate 3. That would be an excellent game one that I am familiar enough with that I can sort of get by and play and it still be entertaining for me. But the actual language that I hear and read, because I will have subtitles on, will be the one that I'm trying to learn. I am very much hoping to try and get the to do the Star of Lathander side quest, to have the whole monastery come down and have Astarion in Korean do his somewhere between a nice summer's day and the full concentrated power of the sun monologue, which is very entertaining in English. Love Neil Newbon from Birmingham. So he's from my ends. Love him to bits. He's very talented and actually appeared in a very good sketch that I enjoy.